Hey guys, welcome down here to Dockweiler Beach. You know, I have seen on the internet many places, like in Reddit and Twitter, the comment threads in our videos. There's a lot of people out there with enthusiasm for driving the manual transmission, but they don't necessarily know how to do it yet. So I have worked together with drivinggear.com, that's driving-gear.com, to produce this mini series about teaching you guys how to drive stick in your three basic circumstances. This video will be the first one, and we are going to cover the very basics. But first, a word from our sponsors. You got to check out my shoes. I'm driving the Pelote Superstrata driving shoe, sold officially through drivinggear.com. When you drive a lot like I do, your shoes make a big difference. And these Pelote shoes, I've been wearing them for years. They have this roll control heel, which allows you to roll your foot around on the heel very easily to get to the pedals, and then it disperses the load of your foot resting on the heel, so your heel doesn't hurt after very long drives. Now, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to have driving shoes in order to drive manual transmission, but I will say it does help. So if you're interested, instead of driving shoes from drivinggear.com, use code TSTFAN, and I'll give you 10% off anything you buy from the store, whether it's a pair of Pelote shoes, accessories, or clothing. So we start with the Superstrata, the casual shoe, for a casual intro to the basics. So where do we start? First off, I have to start by saying this is the basics. So if you know how to drive stick, if you know how to heel toe, if you're great at this already, I'm sorry, this one just isn't for you. This is for people who've never driven stick before, and we're starting at the beginning. So here we go. The manual transmission. Hopefully, at least once you've seen a bicycle with multiple gears. So you have different gear ratios, which here are indicated by the position of the shift lever, and those different gear ratios allow you to accelerate quicker at the bottom of the ratio stack, or go faster at the top end at the higher end of the stack. You start with 1 and you work your way up to 5, 6, or 7, depending on what kind of car you're driving, how many gears you have. We're in my Focus RS. I have 6 gears. So your engine is up front, running and spinning, and we're in neutral right now. If we're in neutral, we can sit here and running all day. We can rev the engine by blipping the throttle, and the engine is connected to the drive wheels via the clutch. The clutch is controlled by your third pedal here. And what the clutch is it's basically 2 plates, one on the engine side, one on the transmission side. The engine one is spinning all the time because your engine is spinning all the time. Your transmission one is not spinning when you're stopped. So by releasing the clutch pedal, you rub them together and one gets the other one to start moving. The clutch pedal disengages that clutch from the transmission. So to get going, you have to get the car into gear without stalling it. So you press the clutch in, which separates the clutch from the transmission assembly, and you go into first gear. Now, there are 3 parts to a clutch throw, meaning your foot moving up and down the pedal. There's all the way on the floor, like it is now. There's all the way off, as if I go back into neutral. That engages the transmission, which is spinning in neutral right now. And then there's what they call the friction zone. The friction zone is the area in between where the clutch is rubbing together, creating a friction to get the other one moving. So the most important thing about a clutch is feeling where that friction zone is, knowing where the friction zone is. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up in a parking lot, as I imagine many of you will do, and I will, without touching the gas pedal at all, release the clutch pedal until the car starts to move a little bit, and then hold it there. Right where I'm holding it, that's the friction zone, where it's what they call riding the clutch. It's rubbing together, creating a friction, but it's getting the car moving. It does need to be said that in the Focus RS, if I release the clutch pedal a little bit, it will automatically rev the engine up a little bit. Most cars don't do that. It's a neat feature in this car. Nevertheless, the mechanics of this exercise are the same. The point is to very slowly release the clutch pedal without using the gas until the car starts moving. So here we go. Off the brake, no gas, and I'm going to release, nothing's happening. See, now the car starts moving, and I'm holding it here, halfway. Eventually, you can kind of tell, see, now you can tell that it's fully engaged. My foot's not all the way off. Now my foot is all the way off. So that process takes 4 to 5 seconds. Now we'll come to a stop and do it again. To come to a stop, you push the clutch in because you can't stop the car while the engine's still moving. You'll stall. Now we'll do it again. Foot off the brake, just release slowly. And there it's starting to catch. The car's starting to move slowly. And now I can take off from a stop without using the gas at all. No reason to overcomplicate things. Now we're going to do it again. Stop, release, go. Okay? The car automatically revs the engine up just a little bit. That's just this car. Other cars won't do that. They'll just idle. But if you have any kind of reasonably sized engine, you can do that too. So, do it again. Now I want you to repeat this at home like 100 times. Just off. I'll count it off. Ready? 1, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1000. So that's 7 full seconds for me to get my foot off of the clutch. Okay? Now, assuming you've gone out and figured out where your friction zone is, now you're back. Now we're going to do the same thing, but adding just a little bit of throttle. You don't need to add much. Some people rev the car up to 3,000 or 4,000 RPM and dump it. That's way too much. The idea is pretty much to use as little throttle as you need. So I think 1,500 RPM is a good place to start. What I would do then is practice in neutral, just revving the car up to 1,500 RPM and holding it there. Rev it up to 1,500 RPM and hold it there. Rev it up to 1,500 RPM and hold it there. And get yourself used to revving it to 1,500 and then just holding it there. Rev it to 1,500 and hold it there. Do that 100 times until that is muscle memory. Driving stick is really about muscle memory. So that's what you do. And then you combine that 1,500 RPM hold with our same slow clutch release. 1, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1000. 7 full seconds. And you see how little throttle I'm using? I mean, we're talking a half a centimeter of throttle. It's very, very little. You don't need much. So you want to reduce the amount of time you're spending on riding the clutch eventually. But for now, you won't damage the car with just a little bit of throttle. So it's just 1,500 RPM and then slowly release. Okay? That's 7 seconds. And now we're going in first gear. Come to a stop, clutch all the way in, because you have to do the clutch all the way in every time you come to a stop. Then do it again. 1,500 RPM. Slowly release. Stop. Do it again. So now you're going to repeat this in your parking lot like 100 times. Don't worry, it's not bad for the clutch. It's like sitting in any traffic jam. Assuming you've gotten that, now we're just going to drive around in first gear. When you're driving in first gear, the ratio is so short that it's actually really important to be smooth on and off of the pedal in first gear. When you're on first gear, you don't want to use too much throttle and you don't want to come off the throttle too quickly. So for instance, if I'm using throttle and then I come off it quickly, well, not so much in this car, but in some cars you get a buck. And you want to make your drive nice and smooth. So just smooth on, smooth off. Smooth on, smooth off. And then to come to a stop, clutch in on the floor. Okay, now what we're going to do, assuming you figured out how to get going in first gear, figured out how to come to a stop in first gear, and you can do it consistently over and over, the next move is second gear. The good news is, first gear is the hardest part. And by the way, reverse, same as first. This procedure is exactly the same. You just go that way instead. The clutch, everything is the same. So, first to second gear. When you go up a ratio, your RPMs will fall a little bit. In order to match that ratio, it means you have to lift off the clutch. So, we're going to go from first to second. So, 1,500 RPM, first gear, and I'll shift up just around 3,500 RPM. So I'm going to go clutch in, lift off the gas, and then clutch slowly back out. My clutch still comes out very slowly, even though I'm already moving. I love to do a nice slow clutch throw all the way up through the gears, unless you're trying to drive fast. But for now, with the basics, slow on, slow off the clutch. We'll do it again. Stopped, 1,500 RPM, clutch out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When I'm cruising, I accelerate to about 50% of red line through this dip, and then here we go, clutch in, off, and then back out. And it's the same thing every gear after that, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. So, one last time, and then we're gonna go out on the road. From a full stop, like I said, when I'm cruising around, I shift up at around half the car's red line. If I'm going quicker in a more performance setting, I'll shift up about 1,000 RPM short of the red line. If I want to go as fast as the car will go, I shift up at red line. So for cruising around, just half the red line works for me. So 1,500 RPM, slowly off. Now we're moving, okay, and we're gonna go to second gear, off the gas into the clutch, and then slowly back on the gas and slowly off the clutch. Now we're moving in second gear. Okay, let's leave the parking lot and go out on the street. And now here we are, cruising around in second gear. Oh no, look at that. There's a speed bump coming up. I'm gonna have to slow way down. So I'm gonna slow way down, but not hit the clutch until I'm going nice and slow, almost like I'm stopped. Then right back to first, right up, another speed bump, slowly off the gas, slowly back on the gas. Now I'm gonna go up to second gear. Yeah, easy, nice and slow. Okay, now, shifters have what they call a self-centering mechanism. So you've got 3 rows of gears, first and second on the left, third and fourth in the middle, fifth and sixth on the right. To go from second, which is on the left, to third, which is in the middle, it centers itself, so you don't have to find it. All you have to do is press it out and then press it up. Now I'm in third gear. The clutch procedure is exactly the same. So now we're going out on the road. I'm cruising along in second gear, and I want to go up to third. So, clutch in, off the gas, let the shifter center in third, press it forward. Now I'm in third. Fourth is just straight back from third, but you notice my footwork procedure is exactly the same. Clutch in, off the gas. So once you're moving, all the rest of the gears, that's all the same. And the procedure to go up a gear or to go down a gear is the same. Speaking of which, let's go down. So when you upshift, you have to lift off the throttle to let the RPMs fall to meet the next gear. When you go down a gear, it's the opposite. You have to do what's called a blip. You've probably heard this term before. So I'm not going to do heel toe or anything advanced. Your basic blip. I'm now cruising along in fourth gear at 2,000 RPM, and I need to go down to third. Watch my right foot. Clutch in, blip. See that? That's just a whoop. That's one of these. Now I want to go down to second. Clutch in, blip. Got that? So, to go up a gear, you do a lift. To go down a gear, you do a blip. Okay, so you have to bring the revs up to match the lower gear. Now I'll go up to third, accelerate a little more, now up to fourth. So now I'm cruising along in fourth gear. When I'm cruising with a manual transmission car, it depends, my choice of gear depends on what I'm doing. If I'm just on the highway, I pretty much go to the highest gear available. So I want to keep my engine above, let's call it 1,500 to 2,000 RPM, and below 3,500 if I'm cruising. Somewhere in there, somewhere in the lower half. So that I've got a little bit of power if I need to accelerate, but I'm not just revving the engine for no reason. So I keep it around there. If I'm in the canyons, if I go faster, I keep it in the top half of the power band, but that's for a different video right now. So we're gonna go right here. So I'm gonna downshift and brake. Now I'm gonna downshift again to second and brake. Normally I would be heel toeing, but for the oh look, steep hill, I need to go to first. Downshift again to first. So every time I downshift, I have to do a blip. If I downshift without doing a blip, it won't be smooth. Like watch, here, this is gonna be an unsmooth. Oh, don't ever do that. That's an unsmooth shift. You want your passengers to feel like they're in an automatic car. So now we're just back in this neighborhood. So same procedure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 seconds off the clutch. Up to second. And we'll just cruise around in here for a little second. Because there's a lot of stop signs. Remember, you come to a stop sign, you come to a full stop, clutch in. Now, some people, when they approach a stop sign, like to coast. Let's say I'm cruising along here and I'm in third gear. Cruising. Oh, look, there's a stop sign. Let me just put it in neutral, and now I'll just coast. I don't like to coast in a manual transmission car, and I'll tell you why. Let's say I'm coasting. And oh my God, something is in the road, and I need to make an evasive maneuver, but I'm not in gear. I can brake and I can steer, but I can't add power. And we know that sometimes adding power is the solution. So I like to stay in gear until slowing down, until I'm almost at a full stop. If you're slowing down from a higher speed, that might mean going downshifting a couple times. If you're just going slowly, maybe it just means leaving in second. I don't downshift to first unless I'm going really, really slow or I'm from a dead stop. The lowest I'll ever do a downshift is third to second. So, where does that leave us? I hope I've covered the basics. I feel like I've covered the basics. I feel like I've covered getting going. I feel like I've covered riding the clutch. I feel like I've covered going up in gears and going down in gears. I don't know. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'm now going to go make videos about how to drive with heel toe in the canyons, and then how to drive flat out on the track with skip shifting and more advanced techniques. I'd like to thank drivinggear.com for sponsoring this video. And of course, if you want to check out these awesome Pelote driving shoes, there's like, I don't know, 20 different styles or so. Go to drivinggear.com. They'll give you 10% off with code TSTFAN. And of course, again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll do my best. Thanks for watching.